to the road. So this spot looked good from space for rocks. And right here is a giant block. Oh, Leah just found a good little piece. That's a definite flint. Yeah. That's a good piece. Little tiny piece, so I'm gonna leave it. And Leah found something good in the water too. What do we got? Nice piece. Super nice piece.
The water's cold.
Yep, the rock is freezing my hand. That's a nice spear point right there. So, nice. It's all underwater though.
Back here.
Yeah, I'll come back to the spot when there's a drought or something. Alright, on to the next spot. This is some really clear water. Wow. Pretty. So there is flint here too. I'm finding that there is flint in most places in the Northeast here. I see a piece right there. You see that? It's small. Right there. Right there. Alright, I am driving. Close the window. I am driving. It's starting to get dark, and I haven't picked a campsite yet again. I was looking at freecampsites.net, and I'm not seeing a whole lot. A bunch of like Lowe's parking lots and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna try to find a state forest that I could camp in. We'll see. But it is getting dark, so I'm gonna be just driving aimlessly in the dark. It's literally a logging road. There's right there. And off these logging roads are little called primitive campsites. And this one has more than most usually do. It has a table. All along this logging road are these little primitive campsites with a picnic table and a fire pit. And you could stay here for up to 13 days. It's pretty cool. But I'm heading west more, so I'm gonna get back in the car and head out. I just wanted to show you what it looked like. It's literally just in the middle of a huge patch of wilderness with logging roads. The roads are clear. You could drive down them. They're really well kept because the trucks keep coming down. And they actually even have porta pots way in the back that I stumbled across. All right, so I gotta get driving. I'll see you guys soon. So you can see how well taken care of the logging roads are here. It's literally, the name of the road is called Logging Road. Logging Road.
Logging Road 8.
Logging Road 8. Pretty cool. Sorry, I had the heat on. It's freezing. Yeah, there's a here's one of the logging areas. Pull in here for a minute. They just leave them and pick them up, and they chop an area. Also, my Patreon people paid for this little dash cam. So now when I'm recording, well, when I'm driving and I see something really scenic that I want to put in the videos, or something very dangerous that I want to put in the videos, I just hit the enter key and it starts recording. So that's pretty cool. So thanks guys, I appreciate it. seeing what looks like flint. That's Onondaga.
Seriously?
Smell it. Right in the pathway.
You have to hit it again.
You don't smell it? Hold on. Here, smell that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Smells like oil.
Yep. Alright, I'm gonna keep
Right in the
this little
path.
piece. So,
Look, here's another one.
alright, so to explain this, I look on Google Earth for an area that has a lot of rock pouring out of any waterway, like a river or creek. And when you see that, it's worth investigating. But I also look at geology maps to see where flint might be. So I look for limestone areas, because limestone usually has some flint in it. And as you see right here, this is limestone and flint. Now, to explain this in the pathway, they make gravel out of limestone, but they don't care that there's flint mixed into the limestone, and they throw it along pathways or places people walk. So that's another thing to look out for. If you see flint in a pathway, or limestone even, like this right here, it's worth going and looking in a creek. There's a creek right there. So I'm going to walk over and check that out. So right here, I see a bedrock that actually looks like shale or slate. And across the way, it's definitely slate. But right here, this white rock, it looks like either limestone or flint. But that's holding the whole wall up, so I'm not going to touch that.
It's a little waterfall. And a ton of black walnuts. Sounds like a waterfall up there too.
It's right here. Right at the waterfall. This is definitely flint. Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Nice.
Let me see if it smells. It smells like creek mud. But that's a good flint. Oh. Cool. This is big enough to make a knife out of. That's a big chunk. I don't see any damage in it either. Just right here a little bit.
Nice.
Nice. Right here, look. So one of the reasons I've probably found flint down there, because I'm not seeing anymore. If you look at the plants here in the water, they're all pressed down. And it looks like a big raging flood came through here. So, since I found it at the edge of the creek flowing in, the flint is probably that way. So I'll go look that way. I'm going to check a little bit more down here and then head out. Alright, you got to do something, guys. Sniff it. Sniff this rock. Sniff it now. Smell that? It smells like trash oil. It's wonderful.
So weird.
Alright. So I got the question of, I cannot find flint in my area. What else can I do? Well, if you walk along any river, you're bound to find something you could knap. And it might take a little bit to find something good, but I will show you the kind of stuff you could knap. Got my napping kit here. All my napping stuff in there. And I'm just gonna look around. It's an almost flat piece of glass here. Let's see how this works. See if I can get some of the roundness off. See that? And this kind of glass is pretty easy to find on any kind of riverfront here. Now, if you don't want to use percussion on this, you could always flake it. Like that. Now, I'm in an area that absolutely nobody comes to. So, these little flakes of glass are going to get washed around in the sand here and turn into pretty much sand itself. I'm not taking incredibly huge flakes. Nobody's going to step on this here. And if you're in an area that somebody might step on these flakes, make sure you put a tarp down and pick them up. You don't want some kid running and getting glass stuck in their foot. I'm just going to show you real quick. What you can make from this glass you just find. See how I'm shaping that? It does have some curve to it. Just gonna zip through this real quick. Kind of hit a little too hard there. That's okay though. Just doing a demonstration of how this stuff works. Most glass you find can be napped fairly easily. And again, I'm just using a caribou antler pushed into a stick here. Had a friend of mine, his name's Russell, and he was on the show Naked and Afraid, and he wanted to learn how to make this stuff from stuff you could find in the wild. This is how you could do it. I've also found bones along rivers like this. There is some bones. I don't know what those are. Washed out from somewhere here. Maybe a small deer or a small dog. And you could use those bones the same way I'm using this antler. So if you're out doing something like Naked and Afraid, and you need a tool to do this, just look for a hard bone, and it'll work perfectly. Now, I'm not shooting these flakes very far, just for example of what you could do with this. Maybe I should show what kind of stuff you could make from glass found. Yeah, I think I'll show. I'll just go through the process here. Basic shape there. So now we're just gonna run some flakes to make it sharp and thin, like that. Flakes aren't running, just sharpen up your tool on a rock a little bit. Shape this a little better. All right. So we got the flakes running all the way across. It's nice and thin. It's kind of big for an arrowhead, but it'll work. Alright, so here's a part that a lot of people have a problem with. I'm going to put the notches in. Now they don't have to be deep. Just like that. Push in and down. See what I did there? Alright, just like that, arrowhead or spear point. Just sharpen up the tip a little bit and straighten it up. call this finished here for that. Very, very, very sharp. Okay, put that in my pocket. We'll continue on here. Put stuff back in my bag. Actually, I'm gonna put the spear point / arrowhead into the front pouch of my bag here. I always carry extras there. Zip it back up so nothing falls out. And continue on the way here. So you saw how quickly I did that. I didn't put a lot of effort into that point. You could make it look super nice, but if you're using it and you need something right away, that is the best way to do it. And I don't have that caribou antler glued into that handle. It's just really wedged in there. So you can find a piece of wood, split it in half, and lash it together with something. Then you're good to go with a flaker. Here's another good piece that'll work. And if you don't have the tools I have, you could just use a hammerstone. This little stone will work. I'll show you here. You can see it takes big flakes off. So I have a piece of shell. This is a kind of last resort thing here, because you don't want to breathe this in at all. You don't even want a chance of breathing this in. This is shell. But just show you a little demo. Little tiny. This stuff does flake. It's hard, but it'll flake, and you can make a shell point if you needed to, and that would work. But I'm not messing around with that too much because toxic dust. Do not breathe that in, trust me. Okay, continue looking around, see what I can find. Now there is other rocks you could use, and it's all worth experimenting. Here's one I'll try right now. Let's give it a shot. All right, so for this one, I'm just gonna test it with another stone. This is more of a schist. So, split this piece off. Now what you could do is roughly shape it. This is not gonna be a strong arrowhead at all. What you could do with the rest of this is grind it into shape on a stone, but underwater, so you don't get that dust. You don't want to breathe the dust in of any rock. You get something called silicosis, and you're going to want to look that up if you're messing with this stuff. Silicosis, you do not want that. But this you could grind into an arrowhead, and I know somebody who does exactly that, and I'm going to put their work right here in a second. His name's Northwest Primate. He makes some really cool stuff. Make sure you check him out. Even in a place that doesn't have quartz, every now and then you luck out and find a little tiny piece. Now if you really needed to, you could knap this down. It's small, but you don't need very large to use as a hunting instrument. So if you knap this down, and the smaller pieces are going to be harder, but we'll give it a quick try just as a the smaller pieces are going to be harder, but we'll give it a try just for a demonstration here. Took that big flake out right there. Right there. This is not the highest quality of quartz, so it's going to be harder to work. But if you keep zigzagging it and working away at it, you'll be able to thin it down into something that you can poke you with. Okay, not going to waste my time with that little piece. If I find a bigger piece, I'll mess around with it. Continue on the way here. All right. So a little fairly straight piece of brown glass. That'll work. And I'll see what I can do with it real quick. So for something that small and that thin, you're gonna want, this is a copper nail. If you could find a nail on the beach, hammer it into something, and then grind the hammerhead piece off to a point, then you have a pressure flaker. This is copper. You could also do it with steel, iron, whatever. So we'll just see what we could do with this little piece. Pieces like this are often fragile. You can see the flakes there. It's got the flakes going up this whole side. Stuff everywhere you could use. That looks like a piece of slate, but I'm not going to mess with that. Too big. Piece of tin. So I have tried tin before and it don't work. Don't even mess with it. It does not work. It hits the target and it folds and the target gets away. Do not mess with tin. My opinion. Some super rough quartzites that you could knap. It would take a lot of effort though. And I'll just give it a quick test. Super quick. Okay, so that does flake. It's just a lot of effort. Another piece of curved glass has some cracks in it. You crack it here along the way. You might be able to get a small hunting point out of that. This is what most people would be looking for. And these are everywhere. You could get a really nice point out of something like that. So be on the lookout for those. Bottle bottoms. Right next to some quartzite there. Super tough stuff. And some regular quartz. Well, that might be quartzite as well. Yeah, that's tough. Okay, keep looking. It's a big piece of quartz right here. You're looking for the white stones when you're looking for quartz. You might be able to get something out of that. I'm literally finding hundreds of things that I could knap in this area that does not have any natural flint and not too much quartz, and there's still hundreds of things that I could nap. When you're doing this, be careful of tides. You don't want to be caught somewhere. Keep your eye on it. When I say hundreds, I literally mean hundreds. There's a piece of glass right here. Could nap that. It's curved, but if you nap it good enough, you could get that curve out. There's also other kinds of stones you could nap that just occur kind of randomly. Here's another piece of bottle. And it's not quite flint, but it's like called chalcedony or different silicified stones. Stuff that will flake in a conchoidal fracture, like glass. Anything that looks like you just broke glass is good to nap. Another piece of broken glass. This one's really thin, and really thin is going to be really hard to flake. You could probably just shape this one into a point and leave it as is, but you fire this and it's going to break. It'll break quick. So, the thicker the glass, the better, in my opinion. Tide is coming in, and this is the only spot I could get through here. So if the tide's coming in, and then it comes in high, and you can't get past this point, and you get stuck. And then you have to scramble up a cliff with thorns and such. So just keep your eye on the tide, always. You could do. So if you find a flat rock like this, and you can't break it with your fingers, that's good to try to flake. You could try to flake that into a point. If it doesn't flake, you could grind it. Just do it underwater. Also, if it has a ringy sound, that's a good sign. Like you heard that when I just dropped it, it sounded like a bell. But literally, pieces of glass everywhere. So we've been driving for hours and hours today, stopping at creeks, and all that I see is slate. So I'm gonna go check out a campsite in a national forest, and I'll show you what some of this drive looks like. It's pretty amazing. So I've just been driving this for hours and hours. I need more coffee. Falling asleep again. But I'm stopping at every creek I find that I'm not seeing any chert this way. So I know where a main Onondaga chert source is, but I can't get to it at the moment. That's in a future video, I suppose. Anyway, check back in at the campsite, I guess. Alright, so I'm not seeing much creek access up here, actually. And I don't want to stay at a hotel. I don't really like hotels. I like to stay outdoors. I really like the primitive campsites, but I can't seem to find any. I'm getting a little frustrated. Just because I don't know. There's not much access to creeks around here, and this is one of the areas that I think it might be in. So, that sucks. Alright, so here is another primitive campsite that I stumbled across. The only problem is it's in the middle of a trail. So there's a trail there, and it goes right up that way. However, went right over here, right on the logging road side here, and came across this. It's all split in half, and it's all flint. This whole chunk is flint. It's not very good flint. It's very flaky, cracked, in cubes. And somebody's been whacking at it. I think what happened was they were looking for rocks for the fire ring, because all this stuff is along the whole fire ring. Funny. It's got a lot of damage in it. If there's anything here that isn't entirely damaged at all, it's all damaged. I mean, even deep inside the rock, you could see it's cracked and crumbled in cubes. I forget the term for when it fractures into cubes like that. So that's interesting. The whole top layer there is flint. Alright. I'm not sure if I'm staying at this one or not. Let's see this here. That's the flint. In the fire pit, it's burned. There's some more. And they burned a hammock or something. Alright, we'll look around some more. Start of day 3 here. You got everything packed in the back. Slept in the primitive campsite again, and I have kind of given up the quest for the Onondaga that smells, because there's not really creek access up where that stuff is here. So I know where a source is, I just can't get to it right now. So that's going to be a future episode. As of right now, I'm going to continue looking around to see if I can find any different kinds of chert and exciting locations. Look at this, they put a big X in the sky. Look at that. What are they doing? Sun's going down. I found some promising locations today, but I need to look into them more. There is some creeks around here that I could get down to, but they are flooded, so I can't see anything in them right now. I'm gonna look for some roadside stuff, I think. We'll see. As of right now, the sun's going down, and I'm not sure where to go. Getting dark. I do not think I'm going to go back to the camp tonight. I see there's already a snap going right through the middle, so I'm going to break it through the middle. Grind wheel from Home Depot. grind the edges to give it a place for the flakes to run, so my tool catches them. Alright. Now what you're going for is a flat piece of glass, which is sometimes pretty difficult to do. Alright. See that curve in it? You gotta get rid of that curve. I'm gonna try something different on this one. I'm not gonna use my usual method. We'll see how it goes. Here first, in this corner. I'm just taking a steep flake off so that I have a spot to hit. You're going to want to do this on leather. I'm not going to, just so I can show you what I'm doing, but do it on leather so you don't cut yourself. Or wear a glove, better yet. I'm going to try to shoot a flake along this surface. Here, like that. These are very, very, very sharp. And I'm going to continually do that to try to thin this out and make it straighter. I'm just going to zigzag a tiny bit. Give myself some more room here. Try to go right here again. See what I'm doing here? 1, 2, 3. And if you look, it's gonna thin this section out. This side is pretty flat, a little curved. This is still very curved here, so we're gonna have to thin this too. Take your time with glass. It's easy to mess up glass and snap it in half. Dug in really deep there, so come in the other way. It's still pretty deep right here. That is dangerous. It might come to making a knife like that. We'll see. See what happens. Just kind of tapping it into shape. Nice platform right here, but it's super thin right there, so we gotta be careful. And I'm very lightly tapping. We don't want to break this. Usually I really hit hard, but I'm not going to for this one. Just going to continually tap it into shape. Just a little bit. straightening it out and thinning it a little bit. This tip is a little towards one end that I don't like. So we're going to try to fix that. Alright, grind the edges again. Smaller one should give me a little bit more control. I got to get rid of some of this thickness here, so I'm gonna lay it down that way and try to remove some of that. Getting there. I'm gonna grind as well as the sides. Alright, for the base, this is dangerous. Gonna really try to support it. It might break, we'll see. Took off that. Then I'm gonna aim on the side, shooting up that way. And that thinned it a lot. That is excellent. Alright. So I got flakes all across this side. I gotta put some on this side too. So I'm going to grind the opposite direction downwards. And then do the same thing, flip it over the other way. Start thinning it from this direction. A lot of you are going to want to switch to pressure flaking here. What I'm going to do is switch out under my leg. This is tipped with copper and a moose antler. So for indirect, you're doing the same thing as pressure flaking, but you're doing it by hitting rather than pressing. But it's the same concept. Hit there. There we go. Shaping and thinning here. Alright. I'm going to do the base. The base is dangerous. Just thin it a little bit. Do that too much. Have the basic knife shape now. This will work as is. Just make nice and shaped now. Going to pressure flake it just a little bit, just to sharpen it up and to put some notches in. For this I have a deer antler with a piece of copper just pressed in, no glue, no nothing. Leather. And same thing, in and down. Like that. And this is just sharpening the edge. Little tiny flakes. Both sides. Up and down the whole piece. See how sharp that is? You can see how sharp that is. Alright. So this will definitely cut. Very gently cutting there, just to show you. If I did it stronger, it would go right through, cut that whole piece off. This is very, very, very sharp. So what I'm gonna do is put a few more flakes in. Put some notches in so I can tie it to a handle. For the notches, I don't press in and down. I press down and then in. So, watch here. Down, in. And it should pop off a little bit of a cone. See that? If you look at the flake, you can see it has a bump. That's what you're looking for. You don't got to go crazy doing too deep there. And there is a nice little knife blade. I will put that on a handle and show you what that looks like in a minute. A groove in to a stick right off the ground here. So I just cut a groove out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue. You could use pine pitch, you could use epoxy, you could use wood glue. Put it in the notch. A little bit on the outside too to secure it. Like that. Let's do a little more. Like that. We're going to take the knife blade, just press it in, sit and dry. Deer tendon. Again, a really effective glass primitive knife here. Works way better on a handle for cutting than on meat. Just be careful not to get these glass shards in your mouth. I like to use Chert for my knives because it doesn't leave little flakes of glass in your food. But if you need a knife and you happen to find glass, because glass is everywhere, this is how you do it. You don't need a very fancy handle, don't need a large handle, just some cordage, some glue,